You ever move somewhere thinking it's going to be quiet, maybe even boring, then wind up fighting for your life before the boxes are even unpacked? That was me. I was just trying to help out my granddad, save a little money, maybe reset my head for a few months in the desert. Instead, I landed right in the middle of a war with people who treated a neighborhood like a tiny kingdom and they didn't even own the castle. That first day, I should have seen it coming when three people, all smiles and sharp edges, crossed the street like they were serving a search warrant. It was barely 8 a.m. The sun hadn't even baked the gravel yet. But that's when my world shifted. My wife, Lindsay, was inside juggling a newborn and what little sanity she had left. I'm outside, wrangling boxes, thinking about where to hang my grandfather's battered flag, just minding my own business, when this woman walks up like she's running for mayor of a prison camp. She wore peach pants, a hairstyle wound tighter than barbed wire, and a smile so fake it could bounce bullets. "Good morning," she said. "I'm Karen Belmont, president of the Sunset Trails Homeowners Association." She said it like she was announcing a royal decree. Before I could even say we were just house-sitting, she started running down violations. An unapproved vehicle, a non-compliant flag, a stroller left out front. Hell, I wouldn't have been surprised if she cited me for the color of my shoelaces. At first, I honestly thought it was a joke. This was my granddad's property, private for decades, and she's acting like she owns the deed. I tried to be polite, explained we were only here temporarily, but she wasn't having it. Instead, she handed me a packet, stapled thick, full of legalese and attitude, telling me the HO expanded jurisdiction earlier in the year, and now this house, my grandfather's house, belonged to them. Just like that, she pointed to a section about visual standards and said compliance was mandatory. Her henchmen were already taking notes, probably planning where to plant the next gallows. "Wait," I said, flipping through her little manifesto. "You voted yourselves the right to annex land that's not yours?" She didn't even flinch. "Democratic process," she said, all teeth. "You're under our jurisdiction now." I almost laughed. "There's literally a sign that says not part of HOA," I pointed out, hoping common sense might still matter. She barely glanced at it. "Non-compliant signage. Remove it in 48 hours. I looked her dead in the eye. "You know this isn't right, don't you?" But her face never changed. "Your grandfather isn't registered. Submit the paperwork, attend orientation, or face consequences." And just like that, she spun on her heel and marched off, her minions close behind, one of them snapping a picture of our stroller like it was evidence in a murder case. I stood there, stunned, packet in hand, feeling like I'd just been served by some dystopian homeowner's secret police. When I told Lindsay, she thought I was exaggerating until I showed her the paperwork and the photo. That night, I texted my grandfather. Just a few words. "HOA showed up, says your property's theirs. Need to talk." His reply came fast. "Be there by morning." Next sunrise, I'm outside, sweeping gravel for no reason, just to burn off anxiety. Didn't sleep a wink. Lindsay's exhausted, baby's fussing, and all I can think about is Karen's smug face. Then I hear me granddad's truck. A beast of an old Ford military green, the kind of truck that says, "I've lived through worse." He parks, climbs out, and before I even get a hello, he asks, "Boundary sign still there?" I point. He marches over, checks the sign, private property, not governed by HOA grunt's approval. I tell him what happened. Karen, clipboard, threats, the whole circus. He listens, face going hard. Then right on cue, here she comes again. Same outfit, different minions, the scent of corporate aggression hanging in the air. She stops at the gate and greets him like they're old friends. "Mr. McCade, you've had ample time to comply. If we don't have your paperwork by Monday, legal action follows." There's a pause. My granddad just walks to his truck, pulls out a Binder County parcel map. Deed, every receipt since 1987. "This is mine," he says, showing her the official border. "Yours stops there." Karen shrugs it off, claims there was a vote, something about contiguous parcels. "By whose authority?" he asks, voice like gravel. "The board," she says. "Then the board can go to hell," he shoots back. The clipboard crew gasps like they just saw a ghost. Karen tries to stay strong, talking about the county registrar and paperwork, but Granddad just pulls out his phone, shows her an email from the land office. No changes to parcel 047. Not subject to HOA. For the first time, I see a crack in her armor. But she recovers quick, mutters something about legal remedies, and marches off. Back inside, Granddad is cool as a cucumber, sips his coffee, tells me to dig up every document I can find, bylaws, votes, the whole works. We're going to war, he says, matter of fact. And if that woman steps on my lawn again, get it on camera. For 3 days, nothing. No visits, no letters, just silence. I almost relax, thinking maybe we scared them off until the mailbox coughs up an envelope thick enough to kill a mouse. Inside, violations, fines, photos, almost 10 grand in made-up charges. Unauthorized residency, swing set, stroller, flag, you name it. One photo shows Lindsay rocking our daughter, shot through the bushes. That's when it went from annoying to sinister. Granddad's reaction? He just nods. Now it's actionable. We draft a response registered mail, certified to the county. It sets the trap, he says. I spend the night scanning every violation, tagging them. Harassment, false enforcement, trespassing. I even make a folder called Hostile Actions. We're ready. Then the neighbors start calling. One guy, friend of Granddad's for 20 years, tells us Karen called an emergency meeting, named us target number 1. Granddad just shrugs, calls his lawyer, and twist calls the county prosecutor. Civil harassment, boundary fraud, everything's being recorded, he says. That night we go into full lockdown. New cameras, motion lights, signs, the works. Grandpa pours a whiskey, reads the bylaws like he's prepping for a final exam. Me? I barely sleep. And then it gets weirder. Cops show up. 2 squad cars, no sirens. And who's with them? Karen. Dressed like she's going to court, clipboard raised like a shield. The cops are professional, but she's feeding them nonsense about unlawful residence and visible firearms. Grandpa steps out, calm as ever, hands them the deed, letters, even his VA paperwork. The gun? Just a decommissioned Springfield on the wall, certified inert. The cops check, nod, and then finale, a bit of justice. As far as we can tell, there's no violation here, the lead officer says. And it appears your organization is issuing fines and making claims against a property that isn't under its governance. Karen turns red, tries to protest, but the cop warns her about filing false reports. She storms off, vowing revenge. But she wasn't done. Next day, someone dumps garbage on our porch, fast food, soda cans, even a dirty diaper. Real mature. Cameras catch a flicker of movement but nothing clear. Then, one of our sensors gets yanked off the garage. Obviously someone knew where the cameras couldn't see. Grandpa just upgrades the whole system. Hires a security contractor, big guy, ex-Marine, Tyler, who turns our house into Fort Knox overnight. Cameras, floodlights, off-site backup. They want you to crack, Tyler says. Document everything. Grandpa takes it seriously, logs every incident, collects flyers, records weather and traffic. It's about pressure, he tells me. We don't retaliate. We document. Sure enough, next comes the neighborhood shaming. Teenagers yelling, "Rule breaker!" at our fence, eggs thrown low to dodge the cameras. Anonymous flyers calling us threats to neighborhood standards. Grandpa just logs it, adds it to the dossier. And then, as if things weren't crazy enough, someone poisons our sprinkler system with chemical foam. Lindsay's had it. This isn't just games anymore, she tells me, holding our baby, voice trembling. Grandpa doesn't argue, just quietly calls the county prosecutor and says, "I'm filing." A few days later, a county marshal shows up, posts an official notice on the HOA office door. Investigation for harassment, unauthorized expansion, utility tampering. I wish I could have seen Karen's face. At the courthouse, we hand over binders of evidence, photos, emails, video, every tiny detail. The assistant prosecutor is impressed. Grandpa lobbied for the veteran protection law he's now using against them. Poetic, right? And then comes the hearing. Karen struts up the walkway with her lawyer, acting like she owns the sky, tries to serve us some boundary adjustment nonsense, a map drawn like a kid's school project. Grandpa just laughs. You can vote the sun rises in the west doesn't make it law, he says. Tyler, the security guy, steps out from behind a bush, holding up a live feed on his phone, audio and all. You're being filmed. You want to keep talking? Karen goes white, her lawyer pulls her away. Grandpa just grins. Ready for round 2? He asks. Word spreads like wildfire. Flyers in mailboxes, people picking sides. Lindsay posts the whole story, online security footage, scan deeds, fake notices. It blows up. The local news runs a piece, calling us the general versus the HOA. Even neighbors start switching sides, dropping off pies and awkward apologies. But the HOA isn't finished. The night before court, volunteers show up with power tools trying to rip out our flagpole, except this time. The new sirens and floodlights go off like a prison break. The cameras catch every face, every license plate. Cops show up, shake their heads, and we press charges again. Court day. Karen looks wilted, her lawyer barely awake. Grandpa wears his old dress uniform, sitting so straight it hurts to look at him. Our prosecutor presents the evidence binders of documents, maps, law citations, even video of the flagpole fiasco. The judge isn't impressed with Karen's citoverul's every objection. Grandpa reads one paragraph from his VA letter, then presents the land deed. The judge finally watches the vandalism footage, then just raises his hand. I've seen enough, he says. Karen's lawyer tries to settle, judge says no, go straight to judgment. The verdict? HOA found in violation of everything from property interference to veteran harassment. The president, Karen herself, found personally liable. $75,000 fine, immediate removal, permanent injunction. This isn't a kingdom, the judge says. You don't rule here. Boom. Case closed. Outside, Grandpa takes the mic for the press, says what everyone's thinking. This wasn't about rules, it was about power. He says he didn't serve this country so some bored queen could bully his family off their land. Then we go home and bolt a new sign to the fence, private land, not governed by HOA. Grandpa's name in gold lettering, shining in the sun. Karen disappears. HOA implodes. Life goes on, slower, quieter. I start a website, just the facts, all our documents. The hits keep coming, other folks reach out wanting to fight back. News calls Grandpa, the man who drew the line. And sometimes, late in the afternoon, I catch him sipping coffee on the porch, eyes on the road. Not waiting for trouble, just making sure everyone remembers. You don't have to shout to win. You just have to stand your ground and make sure nobody, not even an HOA, ever crosses your line. So what do you think? Was this about community or control? About neighbors or power? I want to hear your take. Where would you draw the line if it was your family, your home? Drop a comment, share your story, and let's talk about what real justice looks like when the odds are stacked against you.